going on, everybody? Sir Stacks here. Uh, this session will primarily be talking about more or less a deep dive on Ohara connections, because that is what I would like to say, it's the foundation of Ohara. And if we go back into Monday's session, we learned about what is Ohara, what is remixing, and the advantages of using Ohara. And one of the biggest solutions that Ohara has come up with is the integrations from the APIs, right, that you're able to use and leverage. So today we're going to get into it a little bit deeper as to what these APIs can do and what are they, because some of them are, they don't show you right away like what the API is. You would have to ask Modu. So it's just more or less a deeper dive as to the Ohara connections. So with that being said, bear with me one moment as I go ahead and pull up this deck that I'll be sharing with you guys here today to really give you the lay of the land of the Ohara connections, which I think is pretty cool. Awesome. Alrighty. So a deep dive into Ohara connections, because this is a fundamental thing to really explore when you're building apps on Ohara. So what are Ohara connections? Ideally, they are pre-built integrations that supercharge your apps, right? They make your app go from 0 to 1 in a very frictionless way, I would say, right? It handles all these complex functionalities so you can really focus on that user experience, right? Modu assists you in really integrating these APIs through prompting. Now, the art of prompting is important because you're not just telling Modu to integrate a weather API, you're really providing a story. And within that story, that's when you'll be able to really see your features come to fruition, right? Some nuances, or not even a nuance, I would say a heads up. Some of the APIs are free. Some require pro subscription. So I highly recommend to get the pro subscription because you get more value with all these APIs that I'm about to show you right now. Honestly, it's a no-brainer, right? Like if you were to have all of these APIs, or I would say if you were to have all of these services separately in subscriptions, like you would be paying at least $300 per month. Ohara makes it easy for you in the full suite of API integrations, so you don't have to worry about spending $300 per month with 12 different API connections, right? And I think for me, like the biggest impact has been of really being able to build quickly and scale quickly when I'm building on Ohara. So really turning what could be weeks of building into a matter of days, integrating these API connections. So that's what Ohara connections are, a full suite of API integrations for you to build. Now, there's different types of API connections that we have, right? The first one is AI and content generation. You can create media, you can create content, you can create generators to create content, right? Like you can create your own app to create content, right? Like there's so many cool things that you can do with this sector of like AI and content generation APIs, in which we'll go a little bit deeper as to like what those connections are. Next up, one of my favorite sections of like the APIs that Ohara provides is like the Web3 and blockchain API. So the on-chain kits, the flaunches of the world, really being able to build a dApp with really nice features, right? You know, you can build decentralized apps, messaging apps, embedded wallets, like whatever you can think of, you can build it on Ohara. One of my other favorite sections in where I built Coinplexity is the search and information APIs, where you can use Firecrawl, Perplexity to really access real-time data. I think it's a super dope way to really build and scale your apps and actually provide value to your community, and being able to use those experiences and help each other out in providing the solution that you're trying to provide for your community. Gaming and 3D, right? Really building interactive experiences. And last but not least, data and APIs, information sources, just more or less, using XAI, using other APIs that I'll go through with you guys here today. So for the AI content generation, we have a lot of APIs, as you can see. Imagine paying for all of this separately. It's going to be a lot of money. So Ohara provides you a suite of APIs in the Pro account, so you can go ahead and create magical apps, magical mini apps. You could use Flux, which you can use text to create stunning images. OpenAI for conversations and images as well. Luma to create videos. 11 Labs to create text to speech, which I honestly just used it not too long ago, and honestly, chef kiss. It was wonderful experience using it on Ohara. Runway, where your images become videos. Hedra, where you can create talking avatars, which I am a huge fan of Hedra. Hey Jen for your avatars. Fashion, where you can actually try virtual clothing to try on. Lyria, I actually created a cool app with Lyria where ideally you pick a tarot card, and based on your tarot card, it will provide you the song that matches up with your tarot card, right? So it provides music generation, right? You can create your own podcast intro. You can create anything you want with this, right? The thing is, you have to be creative, right? So I think that's where the nuance come in, and how can I be creative in using these different APIs and create a really cool app? Play AI, real-time voice streaming, and Flux context AI image editing, right? Like these are all the APIs when it comes to AI content generation that it provides you for Ohara for you to use. Web3 and blockchain, I think by far one of my favorite ones, because you're able to really build, as I said, dApps, something that it was super hard to do in 2021. Now you're able to just prompt it and you're able to get an app with on-chain kit, which is honestly like the complete Web3 development suite for Base. Third Web for easy smart contract deployment. So if you want to go ahead and create an NFT marketplace, or if you want to do an escrow, you could do it with Third Web. Lens Protocol, building a decentralized social layer on Base. I think that's also pretty cool. XMTP, wallet-based messaging. I've played around with this plenty of times. I actually created an AOL prototype using this API integration. It worked phenomenal. And being able to message with wallets, I think it's a no-brainer, and really being able to, enhance your privacy and also decentralization at its best. Privy, which is another Web3 authentication, really made simple. You can use your email or wallet to really have users on board and sign in a very frictionless way. And we also have Flaunch, meme coin creation. I use Flaunch plenty of times. I created like this AI powered meme coin creation where you just prompted, enter what you want to, I guess, launch, and then like it'll automatically give you a name, description, and even an image for your token. And then Talent Protocol, developer reputation, which is important in my opinion when you're building. You want to know who are the builders out here. So how do you use all these APIs to really create a fun but creative app? XAI Live Search, I think that's a really dope API to use when it comes to Ohara. You're able to use it for real-time web search. So if you want to scrape Twitter for some crypto alpha, you can build that on Base on Ohara. Perplexity AI, as I mentioned before, I used Perplexity and Firecrawl to create Coinplexity again, which is a crypto first research tool to really learn about crypto, find out what's going on in crypto, and get insights specifically for crypto. ExoSearch, which is an AI-powered content discovery, and then Adjacent News, which is a prediction market insights. I haven't really played around with Adjacent News, so actually that will be my homework tonight, to play around with it and see what I can build. When it comes to gaming, I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not the best I guess vibe coder when it comes to like games. It's not really my cup of tea, but they have some amazing APIs that you can use. You have Phaser to create like 2D browser games. So think like Mario. I've seen a couple of cool games like Flapper being created on Ohara. 3JS, uh, which allows you to create 3D graphics and visualizations. Sketchfab and 3D environment loader to really create dynamic natural environments. So these APIs allow you to create your game. And how, and I'm saying this in a way where I want you to think about how can you create apps using all these different APIs, right? It doesn't have to be all of them. It could be a good 3 to 5 APIs to really create a robust app. So an effective prompting on Ohara, because every platform is different. And I realized that what you do on Ohara versus what you do on another platform is two different things. So the 5 pillars that I came up with of effective prompting on Ohara are: be user-centric, right? Building a weather app for travelers, right? Or building a app for moms or dads, right? You have to put that user persona, that user profile on who you're building for. That's important because it allows Modu to understand who's your target audience. Once you do that, you defined your audience, as I mentioned, right? Who is it for? Create a learning app for kids, create a learning app for bilingual folks, create a app for people who are neurospicy. Whatever the use case is, define your audience in that prompt. Specify key features, right? Like, let's say include search or favorites for sharing, or include AI that allows you to create more images, right? Like, specify those key features for those users and add it into the prompt. And I think number 4 is important because distribution is important when it comes to Ohara. And if you're building on Ohara, know that not only you're building on Ohara, but you're building for this broader ecosystem within the base app, right? Whether it's Farcaster or base or both, honestly, you want to make sure that your app is mobile friendly because honestly, I've seen apps where it's hard to navigate on mobile. So make sure that you are always prompting Modu to think about this app from a mobile first perspective. And then try to combine these connections, right? You really have to sit down and think like, what am I building? And why am I building it? And what I'm going to use, like what resources I'm going to use to combine these connections, whether it's using Flux and 11 Labs and Hedra to create like this really cool app. So those are my 5 pillars. Be user-centric, define your audience, specify key features, think mobile first, and then combine those connections to really build cool apps on Ohara. So some of the examples specifically for AI and content, let's say, for example, you want to do like image generation. You can easily say to Modu, build an AI art studio where users describe scenes and get instant digital paintings, right? For music creation, you can say, create a mood-based music generator for content creators. When it comes to avatars, build a personal video message app with talking avatars. Being able to specify what exactly you want to build, Modu picks up on those nuances and it's able to pick up what connections should be there. So I highly recommend before you even build, chat with Modu, because Modu will go ahead and list out those connections. And if you feel like those connections don't make sense for your app, then try to have these conversations with Modu and think of what connections do you want, right? So it's better to think of it ahead of time rather than having Modu just tell you what should be there. Although I do want to say Modu is usually pretty spot on. But if you want to work on your prompting skills and want to implement these Ohara connections, try to get ahead of it first. But Modu does a wonderful job in integrating these APIs just by providing a well thought out prompt. For Web3, some of the prompting examples are create a portfolio tracker with real-time prices and social sentiment, right? You can also build a community driven NFT platform with easy minting. So that's where Third Web comes in. Uh, Web3 social, create a decentralized Twitter with wallet-based identity. So on-chain kit, maybe XMTP will be integrated, right? Think about what APIs you want to integrate for your Web3 project or your Web3 dApp, and use about 3 to 5 API connections, right? Like that's your, it's not your tech stack, but it's your stack of tech almost, right? Like I know it sounds weird, but it is your stack of, I guess, the meats and potatoes of your app, right? Like without these APIs, like how else would you go about it? Now you can, build an app that doesn't have none of these APIs, but where is the substance, right? Like where is the enhancement of your app? And thinking about strategically on how to use these API connections is one fundamental on Ohara, and will honestly yield you more not only progress in what you're doing, but growth, and people will see the creativity on socials, on Farcaster, on Base, right? And then for gaming, building multiplayer space shooter. I've seen a couple of these games built out on Ohara. Another one is create an interactive world where users can build and explore environments. I've seen this one also as well. And educational games. So maybe designing a Pokemon game, quiz game with 3D models and animations, right? Like these are different ways to integrate the APIs using prompts rather than saying use the weather API, use the Pokemon API. Like give it instructions, give it concise details so it understands what is building. So here's some do's and don'ts, especially if you're using Ohara connections. Don't be vague. I think I mentioned this in the first session, and I just mentioned it now. Like, don't say use a weather API, right? Integrate it with your prompt, right? So be specific. Build a travel weather dashboard, right? Like you're telling it what to do, but then Modo will pick up on the nuances to really integrate those APIs. Don't forget mobile users. I think a lot of the apps that are being distributed nowadays are mobile first. Um, you know, Farcaster, Base app, like all of these apps are mobile first, and that's going to be your big distribution moat to really be able to capture attention and also capture users. Uh, don't ignore users' personas, right? Think about those degens. Think about those degens who like data. Think about users who like data, right? Like just think about all these different users and why you want them to come onto your app. And last but not least, using single connections in isolations, right? Like just using one connection may not be enough. You may need 2 or more to really make that app shine and actually grab attention, right? So connect multiple APIs creatively. Think outside the box. I think the wonderful thing about Ohara is a space for you to be creative, and it's a space for you to really think about things that the average person wouldn't think of, right? Um, think about that. So what I would like you guys to do, ideally, is really be able to vibe code using base pay connection. Right now, there is a competition to submit your best base pay connection app. You guys have about whatever time you guys need to build this out. For those who are watching, live, 15 minutes. If you're not watching this live, you have all the amount of time in the world, but just know that I do believe that the competition ends in 2 days. So try to submit that app as soon as possible. And I think that's pretty much it when it comes to Ohara connections. Leverage those connections. I think that if you're able to leverage those connections, you're really going to come out with a really dope app. I am going to go ahead and just show you guys like one of the apps that I created that uses multiple connections, so you guys have an idea of what to build. So give me 1 second here. So yeah, I guess I'm not sure if it's still going on or not. It says 1 day, 5 hours. But still submit it. I think it's still good to be able to, get some exposure and, maybe you can get featured on the platform. So here's one app that I created. It's called Rate Me, and Rate Me or Rate It. It's ideally turning your life decision into tradable meme coins. You can get an AI analysis scores out of 10, custom tickers, and ready to deploy on Clanker messages for Farcaster, right? So you can say, I just got rugged by providing, I can't spell today, my private keys, right? And then you can rate your decision. AI will give you, like, in a mimetic way, it will give you, right? It was a terrible decision. So I used, for this one, I use OpenAI. Now, granted, I only use OpenAI, I believe, for this one. Let me just double check. But I also added Clanker. Now, Clanker is not an API, but you can copy the message on Clanker and it will deploy it for you. Or you could just click deploy on Farcaster and then it will take you to Farcaster. I would have to log in with my phone. And I think we could do that pretty quickly here. Just give me 1 second. Yes, this was me. And I'm logging into Farcaster. I'm going to be sharing my screen now. Let's just do this again. So deploy on Farcaster. And then the AI automatically creates the coin for me, the coin ticker. Oops, a daisy coin. I just got rugged by providing my private keys. 2 out of 10. And you could easily cast it and deploy that coin. And ideally, you can trade your decisions. And if people think that your decisions are pretty bad, then the crowd will go ahead and buy it. So I think it's really cool to really create like these cool niche apps. Another app that I created is CoinFest, and ideally, what that looks like, you connect your wallet. So I use on-chain kit, and you're able to see. Let's see if it pops up. If not, I may have to connect wallet. Let's see. You're able to ideally confess anonymously, but you have to pay a fee. So alrighty, it looks like this is it, anonymous confessions. So this is all on chain. You can view the transaction. I had braces in middle school, so I didn't kiss girls. So you can share those confessions privately on chain. No one knows who you are, and you just pay a small fee. So again, different use cases on how to use different APIs. So I'll leave you with that homework to play around with the Ohara connections, play around with also prompting, and not just saying use this API, but just like telling the story of what you want to do, and Modo will pick up on those nuances. So super excited for you guys, whoever is watching this right now, for you to just play around with Ohara. If you do launch an app within the next 48 hours, make sure you tag me on X and tag Ohara as well, because I would love to not only see it, but also play around with it and then repost it to kind of give you more visibility on your apps. So with that being said, guys, it has been an honor. I will see you guys on Friday, and continue to build. I'm always here for you guys. Make sure you reach out to me at Sir Stacks, SERSTAXX, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Till then, building onwards. Peace.